Welcome, welcome. It's me, Suze, of Sophia's Emporium, coming to bring you a blockbuster hit, and then we'll probably break into a confirmation of spirit live. But for now, let's get on with the show. Oh, and yeah, by the, Fair Use Act, I'm using this all to educate and to protect myself and represent pro bono work. Or no, pro se, not pro bono. Mm.
Oh, look. I didn't even know back then that Melissa Southard
Marissa,
of the St. Louis
Marissa,
Awakening Project
Marissa,
was
it was on the live
sustainable
stream.
and also
That one.
political agenda. The same one. Southard Art Studios and Cheetah Movement. And this is from 2017 before I knew Marissa.
Oh, and Lauren is black too, and all her friends know it. They will witness to that. She don't even like white people. My own daughter's prejudiced of white people. And she's white.
About the humans anymore. And hey, Marissa, keep in mind, when I befriended you, and I went out to Foss Park, and I took everything, hoping to really have found a network of females that actually cared about each other. And you guys photographed all of my stuff, including the sacred scarab and the stone.
You better believe it.
The meteorite, one of a kind. Now,
Let me
see,
get it real quick.
I know those pictures that were made public the minute I published them the first time. But where this is going to get tricky and ugly is if you guys try to use those images while at the same time whitewashing me. Because when you shared your pictures from Foss Park, not one picture of me or my art shows on your webpage. And now you guys don't have enough money to run the St. Louis Awakening Project, and you guys are begging money from people to go to other states so you can photograph militant, angry women that you ride on with an eyeliner while you break the rules and regulations, the sanitization, sterilization laws of State Board, but that's okay because you're not a hairdresser. No wonder you're so involved in Ferguson politics. And I, Marissa, do you think it's going to wash out that the reason why you were such a saint and cleaned up Andy Worm during the protests is because you were paid by Soros? No wonder you didn't show up on July 26th, which you made that contract. Which was
Verbal agreement
and you had
that
two
she
young
proposed,
women,
not me.
both stuck in the military, do your social media and take those pictures and befriend me while you sat in your other corner with your militant friends. Good thing I didn't show up, huh? To Chesterfield Mall. To a vacant mall. I mean, because, really? You guys were prejudiced against me from the start. Because I'm not a man-hater. And because I'm just a regular-sized, average girl. Trying to make her honest way. While you people rip people off and run agendas. No wonder there's no small business. You don't even really have good composition in your photographs, girl. Oh, wait, your dude's a photographer, too. That's right. And hey, quit demasculinizing your man. And I don't know why you hate men, but just keep in mind, these angry women that you very well now promote,
Like Cory Bush,
government, these women were actually abused.
Hillary
and that's why
Clinton.
they abuse kids. And that's probably why they're fat and angry. 6/27, or 6 June, the 2nd of June, 2017. A Heart of Hope book release.
This is when she was in Texas. Like I said, this girl is a felon
Will be available for sale.
and involved in a gang that she was forced to be in. And I don't blame the people that indoctrinated her because they're black. Everybody's a victim. So this isn't about prejudice.
You and my little black.
This is about separating us.
Were hating on me.
Fools.
Plotting and planning for the last fucking year. You better run out of St. Louis real quick. Did I mention the technology is 150 years more advanced than you trifling bitches will ever know. Every video I post, every word I speak, every sentence I type, they pick up, they check it out. And oh yeah, there's good, strong, real men in all levels of government, all military, all police, all firemen, all service industries. How dare you? And you want to think a bunch of soft,
This
fluffy,
was not sealed,
in suits.
so we opened it.
Skins
We unfolded
are
it.
gonna hit the self-destruct button on us before we call you out? Just remember, when you psychopaths hit that self-destruct button, you're doing it to your very own. Wake up. Do y'all know where the last life form that actually reproduced? Oh, fucks. That's why all the spooky stories about all these extraterrestrial races, they lost the ability to reproduce because they were cold-hearted reptilians. Yeah, those fake royal families, when they talk to you about reptilians or reptilians in government or reptilians in Hollywood, don't you get it? It's a metaphor for this false skin that we wear. But I gotta give you the memo, man. Your insides show on the outside now, so that's your true skin. Now come to the outside. And so for any of you that are hiding fake skin, think about all the festering and infection and fucking grossness that is manifesting right under the surface in all y'all right now. And that's why y'all are attacking today. Did I ever mention that you offend my spirit? And you offend Mother Nature? And you
This was live streamed on July 28th,
entire world
2018.
with your trifling actions.
I've been waiting to have fun with this for so long. I got a surprise for you when we take
I
intermission.
gotta have a little break. I think that I'd rather see this face. Because our truth is marched
The
on.
Warrant Division. Ugh. This is a 22-year-old person. Hasn't lived in my home for 4 years.
Did I mention that they do these biometrics and these layers of images over the real image, kind of like.
Oh, here's your Elvis truth, too. Marching on.
Showed me how
There's all the letters.
a fucking year ago. It's also going to connect Trump, JFK Jr., and the Elvis algorithm.
3 years.
Program.
Oh, 3 years, right.
And they mock it and stepping away.
Is
Make
my
me look dirty and tag her to me.
right.
And
That's
she's
how they
nowhere
do it.
near me.
Incriminating.
I've had the feds come to my house with guns drawn, looking for her. Oh yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
People are usually too embarrassed to say that about their child.
Pretty much. Okay. So there's that footage. And that was really hard and fast. Now, Let's see if it connects to current events with the man that talks shit on me every day. No other than Sir Chantalot, C.W. Chanter. This is someone who is dangerous, medicated, drug addicted, and way too involved with the legal lawyer industry to be talking like this. Here we go. I'm going to change the color because under the Fair Use Act, you know, I'm definitely using this for education as well as my spiritual research and representing myself pro se, because this man is involved with other people that are all going down now, and they had a little pact in their cult where they were going to sacrifice me. Pissed me off. All right, Baldy, let's go.
Were using the people was because the sun was blocked out and they needed their energy to power the whole system, creating this huge gigantic plot point, right? You're the machines on planet. First of all, the whole conception of how the Matrix War got started and then it turned to war. Why wouldn't the people, the machine people of City 10 just look around and be like, oh, you don't like us? You don't like us? Fine. Fuck y'all. We're going to outer space. Why wouldn't they just go to outer space?
Nobody's
right?
going to outer
The only reason
space.
humans don't go to outer space is because we're not machine people who can fly. Those bitches can fly. Those squid things, you don't think that those things could be powered up? And listen, hey, now this is where some of the flat earthers are going to be like, well, dickhead, no one can.
Okay, so this is a disinformation channel, as you can see.
No, right?
The name of the show is The Problem with Political and Ideological Stereotypes and the Specter of Political Violence. Well, we have a lot of political violence here in St. Louis, so I'm going to go head-to-head with Chanter and discuss what I see in a city that I've lived in my entire life.
Like a right-sized piece of HD hard drive or whatever to maintain like an infinite number of them in their own private fantasy land. Right? The Matrix. I got problems with the whole conception.
Do you have problems with St. Louis being the second most dangerous city to live in, Chanter? Because you mocked the idea that I'm here from Ferguson as well. Oh, do you know I'm here already? Did they let you know? Let's see what he does. See, they know when I come in. And then they have to decide what they're going to do as they're working their program. He laughs. Do.
I'll make sure I'm not dealing with it.
Oh, you know what you're dealing with. You're my nemesis, and I've asked you many times to stop, drop, and roll. So I'll ask you again today. Will you stop, drop, and roll? Because you start wars.
Oh, here we go. Hunkered in the bunker.
Hunker in the bunker, right. Bungle in the jungle, bitch.
Thoughts on Owen Benjamin? I'll have to check it out. The comedian. I don't. Now listen. Here's what I'll say. Thank you, Robert Elder.
He never has any facts, figures, or statistics.
About, Owen Benjamin. I hate to admit it. The first time I heard the one bit that he did about.
And I have no idea who he's talking about.
I laugh.
I don't follow the same people.
Stereotype is racist, humor, it's not good, and it doesn't move the conversation forward. It was interesting to see him turn on everybody else like Sam Harris. We're going to have to do another Q&A. We're going to have to do another Ask Me Anything.
He's going to try to get off the phone quick.
Talk about more detail.
Right, check your phone. You got to go. You got to go. What did I tell you?
But I'll say this, yes. So there was a comment by a dude named Hunker. I'm not going to go into it. You know what I mean?
We'll check out your live stream. Don't worry.
Why would you come to
We're going to do it before you make it private, too. He's been making the serious ones private.
There would be any value in putting forward an idea that you couldn't possibly think would be, accepted or
this is an hour long.
Sophisticated or reasonable here. People are people. We got to deal with each other. It is what it is.
You're right. We do got to deal with each other.
Face it. I love y'all. Love y'all.
Yeah.
Love purpose.
Okay, here we go.
Sort of. No, I never did it on purpose. I got into the habit of waiting And so they released a couple of cats and kittens and said, Brandon Young, how you doing? People in the live chat to, I don't know, to get the party started. And generally the rule I always use was 3 was the magic number. Once I got 3 people in there, we're off to the races. And it says I got 3 viewers at home. So, there we go. Brandon Young, Rosebud.
Yeah, Rosebud's her name. You know who she is. She changed her
I
name,
did?
remember?
Anyway,
Yeah,
there
I
you
know
go.
who she is.
We're called Meta. That's 2 birds with 1 stone. And we got our 3 cats. We got Brandon Young, we got Rosebud, we got Zeta Morse, we got Jarvid9. Long time no see, Jarvid9.
Right, y'all are going to
How you
talk
doing?
code.
Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. Look,
Clean your room up.
I'm not a perfect person, so look, you know what I mean? I'm not a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a sociologist.
But you have been treated
I'm not
by
even a
one.
life coach. You know
You
what
were
I
in
mean? I'm not even a
lockdown last
certified
week.
Reiki healer.
Hey,
Okay?
you were in
I don't have any
lockdown last
degrees
week for your little
quantum
alcoholic
QHHT. I'm just
pill-fueled
like a
rant.
rank amateur. Believe you me.
No, nobody believes
Part
you.
of the reason that I'm making this video is because I need as much help with this as anybody else.
Oh, even
So this is
more.
not, Saint CW, the saint who walks amongst us, trying to, share my wisdom with the masses.
But he is the founder of his religion called Commonwealth Chanting.
Don't bother.
He classifies himself as an atheist, but he has ties with the Church of Scientology.
We got to figure out a way to deal with it. Because it's an old cliche. United we stand, divided we fall. If you go into the myths and mythology of the various cultures of the world, you'll see that there's some universal themes, some universal stories that are told over and over again in different forms amongst the different people of the land.
those on my live stream.
Though we may be divided by skin color, ideology.
Hey, anybody that follows my channel needs to tag this, and I'll say confirmation of spirit, because I just put up 3 live streams specifically about what he's talking about, being divided and color and etc. Oh yes, that's how this works.
Here, there, and everywhere. And one of those things is, without a doubt, united we stand, divided we fall. A house divided cannot stand. People can have differences, but we need to learn how to interact with each other successfully. And I dare say, I'm not alone when I say that as a culture, I'm speaking specifically of America, but I think that this applies to most of the first world nations that we see, literally the map of the planet Earth today. You know what I mean? Whether it's differences over Brexit in England, or immigration reform, or immigration changes in Germany, pro or anti-Putin factions in the former USSR, current Russia, Ukraine. The problems in the various South American countries like Venezuela and Brazil that are going through their own political, changes and upheaval. There's been a stratification and a polarization of the peoples. And maybe I'm singing an old song, and maybe it's a cliche to say things are different now. They're getting worse, and they were better back then. Maybe, these things move in flux from one state of affairs to another. But all those questions are academic. We know what we're talking about. We know what we're dealing with. What prompted me to make this video is that I saw somebody do something on Twitter that I've been guilty of 1,000 times.
Let's get some music.
Cute little meme, little poster, thing, image. And it said something like about, I think it's talking about, it's obviously addressing the recent deplatforming of certain conservative thinkers and speakers, from the various, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever. Alex Jones is a primary example. But we see other people, complaining of the
Gotta
same
love
things.
royalty-free music. Thank you so much. Here we go.
Depersoned because of being denied participation.
Let's get a good song for everybody.
these various social platforms. That's a separate issue that we've discussed before.
This is called Scheming Weasel.
Those questions of freedom of speech and what have you. But I guess the thrust of this little picture featuring Dr. Evil from Austin Powers was the notion that liberals are for free speech, unless you have a difference of opinion, yada, 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 in which case, free speech can be damned. And, I'm not singling this out as a particularly egregious example of political and ideological stereotyping.
This hangout on air is
But
live.
but it's part of the problem. It's definitely reminded me of the issue, brought the issue, to my mind, and it occurred to me that it was a good thing to talk about. We're losing the ability to talk to each other. People can be divided upon the political spectrum. We're all individuals, right? And there's a reason why we engage in stereotyping, whether it's the stereotyping of racist stereotypes or ideological stereotypes, even the simple stereotypes. Guys that are into heavy metal be all like,
You know.
and those little stereotypes that we use, they like cliches, they come into use, and not because they're, been put upon us.
I'm gonna
or
bring you
foisted
some
upon us by
humor.
some alien technology or some alien entity. We use them because they're convenient. The mind naturally goes to this. Grouping and patterning is an aspect of the human mind. So it's natural that
Opening
it occurs,
season
but
for
we should be
Saps.
wary of it, and I think we should be especially wary of it at this point in time. We should be wary of it, and we should actively, as a community and as a people, try to address it and try to, by changing and altering maybe certain of our behaviors and patterns, we might be able to influence the discourse in some small way, because it's got to be influenced. Whereas before, I would suggest that
I don't like that one.
whereas there'll be liberals, there'll be conservatives, progressives, these things, these simple terminologies,
Go back
or
to that.
specific terminologies:
Classic.
Republican, Democrat, communist, socialist, anarchist. We're losing the ability to speak to each other, because where it used to be, there was a common agreement about the basic facts on the ground, though there'd be a difference of political opinion as how to solve the problem. A conservative says not all change is progress. Let's maintain the status quo. Be careful of addressing all these evils that you think exist in society, because in doing so, you may kick out the columns that hold the whole thing together, and the whole thing may come crashing down, and it's going to be doomed. And the progressive might say, look, if you look at the course of human history, it's been an ongoing evolution and process of change, expanding of rights, giving new rights to identifying disenfranchised people and giving them rights, trying to bring people up, changing systems, understanding that there's oligarchies and hierarchies and royal families, etc., and that old systems are inherently flawed and must be revived and must be changed if we're going to solve the problems that are endemic to the system. And I've always put forward, and I think that many of you might agree with me, that where a person falls on the political spectrum, their analysis of things as they are, and their analysis of what the problem may be, is as influenced by their subconscious psychology as it is by any overt, rational, logical approach to what things are and how things can be assessed and how problems can be solved. So, in today's modern Trumpian era, the political stereotyping and ideological stereotyping feels to have reached a fever pitch, where people are not treating people as individuals, but on social media, whether it be Facebook or Twitter, environments where you can identify the individual, where you can know a person to be a unique individual and person. Still, we interact with each other more and more as just representatives, not of an individual who has made a political or ideological choice or feels a psychological inclination to process the world, whether it's a fear-based response or a hope or love-based response, whether they see the world as a world of abundance where there's multiple resources that can be divvied up more fairly and be shared, or whether they have a kind of a fear response to say, oh, we live in a world of finite resources and we got to look out for number one, and if you want to let everyone and their mother in, to get these medical treatments or to get these food resources, that you're going to be left with nothing and you're going to be overrun. More and more the language has become more and more hyperbolic, and people are more and more likely to react to people saying things and to generalize the other. Liberals be like, and Trump supporters be all like, dude, mega, right? And progressives be all like, hey, oh, I'm a progressive. You know, my preferred pronoun is, zebra and unicorn. You know, and are there people out there that are cucamonga crazy? Sure. But for the most part, if we chose to, we speak the same language. And if we chose to interact with each other as individuals and listen to each other, we could, no offense, break it down and probably have better discourse and a better understanding of what we were talking about, what we were assessing, and we could have a better idea or opportunity to educate each other as to why we think the other person's position is wrong. Sure, it might naturally engender and get to the point of heated debate, but the debate never gets started because in our little insulated silos of ideological groupthink, right? Always pointing the finger out and saying, you know, face it, folks, we're right. Right? The way we process things, the way we think about things, the way we understand these political players and the systems and institutions, we're correct. Can we have an amen on that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And if we're right, then those other idiots, man, how could you be so stupid as to think the other way? What a bunch of saps. What a bunch of maroons. You know what I mean? They're all lavender. They're all inbred hicks. They're all effete college people who could never do anything in a real touch and go, real full contact life sort of situation. They've got no idea what they're doing. They get the benefits of the first world, but they do nothing to contribute to society. Yada, yada, yada. Jews be all like, blacks be like, this, that, and the other thing. No. We must resist the urge to stereotype. We must resist the urge to not treat people as individuals, but to make these blanket statements. Liberals are like, whenever, so, the basic thrust of my video today is to say, look, I can in this simple way describe this simple situation and be confident that you guys are going to know where I'm coming from in the description of the situation. Not treating people like individuals, but treating people like big blocks, generalizing them, treating people of different political persuasions much in the same way, repeating much the same patterns of the problems of racism, right? Chinese people are like this and this. And I wanted to say, to come at it from not an ivory tower perspective, but to come at it from a real guy kind of perspective and say, here might be a way that I can kind of build the bridge or show that I'm not trying to be ivory tower about it. It's understandable why certain people can have. I've had racist. I understand that sometimes I can be racist. I can be.
Hey, y'all, tag that because we started out with a show directly related to this whole prejudice thing. He admits it. What we do is we show the connection with, the St. Louis Awakening Project and being a political agenda funded by people like Soros and Clinton. And, they put people in to try to get elected like Cory Bush. But in the meantime, do you think he really just hates me? Because I'm not a Democrat or Republican or conservative or liberal. I'm not any of the labels that he talks about, nor am I into any of the people he talks about
your own
but he
plane,
talks
those
shit on me 24/7
characteristics
and has
come.
been after me
You
for
want
2
to
years.
space?
So
You
he
want
has 3,000 viewers. I have 261. He doesn't realize
first
that some people are held down on purpose. Other people get paid to put up. And if you're in the right group, they let you hang out. So this is all shuffling off to Buffalo, current time. So we'll just let him talk.
A
I
red,
just wanted to bring that in.
2 blues. You don't know. You buy the bag of M&Ms, and that's fine, all well and good. So you group, and these things are things that you can assess. You can identify yourself sometimes and address. You know what I mean? Say, I know and can see that I might have sometimes be like this, and that's stereotyping, or that's racist, and I should avoid that. And you train yourself over time to identify the thoughts, understand why they're not desirable for you, understand the way in which they don't help and hinder your progress and your interaction with human society, and you address them. If you're all about the self-improvement, and if you're trying to work yourself out and get to a better place. What was I saying about not being ivory tower and trying to be real about it? And at the same time, to understand, where these thoughts and ideas can come from. There was a great comedian, was very active, I guess, in the late 80s, early 90s, called Barry Sobel, right? And he had this great routine about racism, and it's like racist cliches. And it goes a little something like this. I'm paraphrasing, and this is fair use. I'm doing this to Mr. Sobel, if you're out there. I'm not stealing your bit. I'm giving you credit, but I think there's a teachable lesson involved. Basically, he's going around the stage and he goes, sure, African American people never talk in the movie theater. Asian American people are very good drivers. Jews hate money. Basically underlying the fact that while we know and understand that racism is bad and we attack these stereotypes exist. They exist in our society. They exist in our mentality and our mind. And sometimes there's sociological and actual historical reasons and cultural historical baggage that we're aware of that. You know what I mean? You're an Irish person. Oh, McMurray, how you doing over there? Get you a beer? I bet you I can get you a beer. I'm in the Brits, You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Or here comes this guy. I bet you are a lawyer, doctor. No, actually, I'm the garbage man. Okay? I made some mistakes in my life. Whatever the case may be, stereotypes exist. But those little shorthands, so they might be exist in our brains for a reason. Still, when we're dealing with the individual, excuse me, do us a disservice. We miss out on the opportunity to have those stereotypes disproven and falsified when we don't get involved and get to know the actual individual that we're dealing with. And when you actually interact with people, when you find yourselves, if you're lucky enough, and you choose to participate at the workplace or at the school or wherever, when you have the opportunity to interact with people who are from different socioeconomic backgrounds, or different national or sexual orientation backgrounds than you. Sure, they may start off as a cliche, as a parody, as a stereotype, but over time, interacting with them, new details get filled in, and the complexity of characters get known and understood. Holy shit, you're gay? Yeah, I'm gay. You have the worst fashion sense ever, Derek. Well, yeah, but my name is Derek, and that has nothing to do with it. You start, no, I don't like show tunes, whatever the case may be. You start fleshing people out, and then you see why those stereotypes are just They're not the person. They're a mask. They're a conception. They're an idea. And if you don't get past that, and you just stay at the surface level of stereotype and cliche, the other remains eternally the other, unidentified as something like you, another human, just as amazing, just as nuanced as you. And when you do that, you remain trapped in this false reality, false conclusions, and the person that could be your ally, that could be your good neighbor, that could be assistance to you, as you could be an assistance to them in times of struggle, in times of need, in times of economic uncertainty, in times of environmental or natural disaster or other sort of calamitous upheaval, is instead your competitor, your enemy, another problem rather than another possible solution. Is that to say, or to sing the old Kumbaya song of, man, black, white, gay, straight, we're all members of the human family? No, I mean, I'm not going to invite some rando off the street to my house on the assumption that they're a person just like me. And just like me, they're stealing all my shit. What the? You know? No. There are good people, there are bad people. Some of the people that you choose to get beyond the wall as they get fleshed out and the stereotype and stereotypical cliches wander away or seen in the context of just being part and parcel of a whole person. Some of those people you get to know, you're not going to like. Derek, man, I appreciate the fact you've got a terrible fashion sense and don't talk with a lisp, but you know, you're just such an asshole. You know what I mean? But don't worry. I don't like you either. Sha-na-na-na. You know what I mean? We're all somewhere on the everybody sucks rainbow. And we all suck some of the time. And some of the time it's all glorious hallelujah because we're great. Having laid the groundwork, having pointed out the fact that it's a problem when we don't interact with each other as individuals, but just interact with us as cliches, let's bring it back to the actual subject at hand. In the context, let's talk about cliches and stereotypes, specifically in the context of political and ideological. And then, you know, on these platforms, and we're going to eventually, I'm going to keep it simple today, but eventually we're going to talk about the fact that, look, you can understand this as metaphor, or you can understand this as reality. The fact that C.W. Chanter is losing my mind, right? I am a spiritual person. I am part of the New Age diaspora. I do have mystical, magical thoughts about things. And one of those mystical, magical thoughts, not to be discussed here per se, specifically, but for later episodes, is these platforms, just like corporations, YouTube, Google, Twitter, Patreon, PayPal even, Discord, right? Instagram. All of these entities, all these corporations have corporate personalities, but beyond that, they engender, they're different, they have different vibes and energy. And in so, I really think of them as being like energetic demons. Really. By turns good, by turns bad, they all have their own personality. And when we come to them, we interact with them in different ways. And some of them, and this is evidence that I can point to, and understand that I generally, this is kind of metaphor and myth, they all have different vibes. They all have different levels of quote unquote toxicity, right? I noticed that there are people that, if I would interact with them when I was on Facebook and I would interact on Facebook, it'd be a totally different energy, though it could sometimes be similar to Twitter, which just seems like everyone who goes to Twitter 90% of the time seems to come back after and say, I'm addicted. It's like some sort of crack. But can we all be honest? I'm a terrible person on Twitter.
You're terrible everywhere.
It's so more toxic.
You got dry
Than
rot.
some of these other paradigms and some of these other platforms. The platform has an energy. The party and the club has a vibe. The music, the drugs, the people, the community, the wait staff, the
Yours sure
neighborhood
does.
that it's in, all goes in to creating something That could be a hit or it could be a miss, but it'll have its own vibe. Oh yeah, that place, shit's always popping off there. But get out of there before 1 o'clock, because I've never been at that club after 1 o'clock where someone didn't get stabbed in the back of the head with an ice pick, right? Craziest Denny's I've ever been to in my life. True story.
Does it have to do with an orange pumpkin with no face?
So everything is.
Where'd you go, Chanter? Counselor, approach the bench. Is your wife calling? I know you're not honest,
Got
Alf.
this issue. You got to do things that you got to do. But that's going to be a subject for another hand. Let's concentrate and talk about things that we can do. We've identified the problem. We know what the consequences in American society now. Trump is saying things that certain media outlets are characterizing as a call to violence, though he's blaming the other side, saying to basically what happens that Trump addressed.
Now, Chanter full well knows the truth, that all footage can be altered and that words can be put in a person's mouth. But he really believes his side, you see? This is why we cannot go on with these sides. Perfect example.